Okay, good afternoon. We'll call the October 16th meeting of the Civil Service Commission to order.
Excuse me, sorry, we're going.
First item on the agenda is approve the minutes from the September 18th meeting. Is there a motion? Is there a second? All in favor? Next, we have a public hearing on the classification of city treasurer as competitive. Does anyone who would like to speak on that? They have 5 minutes. We just ask that you give your name and address. So we'll open a public hearing. So anyone here wants to speak on the classification of city treasurer as competitive? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Next item on the agenda is a second read for residency waiver request by Carter Wasley. So I wasn't here for the last meeting, but I read the minutes, but I'll just start out. But what's the nature of the request for the waiver?
The nature of the request for the waiver is simply that I made an honest mistake when I was purchasing my first home by purchasing the entire county. I was not under any knowledge that continuing city or continuing Broome County residency was a requirement to continue employment with the city of Binghamton. And by the time I found out that the error was made, we were already closed and contracts were signed up the house.
Well, here's the issue. Residency waivers are usually given under very significant extenuating circumstances. And in my opinion, if we granted one now, we would just gut the residency requirement for Broome County because we could not deny any other future waiver. Because I understand your situation, but it really doesn't rise to the standard to justify a waiver. That's the situation.
So could you just go into more detail about what would really justify a waiver of such?
If we couldn't find a firefighter anywhere in Broome County and we were desperate for firefighters, we would hire some firefighter outside the area.
If I could just piggyback, just sort of, and I said this the last meeting, local 729 is in support of his application for a waiver. Carter's a third generation firefighter. He's an asset to the department. He's a rising star and currently volunteered to go ahead. The head of his church and paramedics will be counted on to fill his regular shifts to come in on shortages and second lines. And I believe that's partly why we have a residency requirement that is limited to the county. BFD, like the Binghamton Police Department, is experiencing recruitment and retention issues. I'm sure you're aware of that. We're having the same problems that the police department are with filling positions. We're currently down 5 positions, 5 more out on injuries. We have FMLA requests coming through the personnel director's office almost weekly. We have our own recruitment and retention issues. So we kind of have those weird circumstances going on that you mentioned. I'm just talking with the police department, Larry Hendrickson, who's the PBA president, we're suggesting that you guys consider changing the residency requirement, not to be the county, but to be a mileage marker instead. He lives closer where he lives now than other guys on the job live in Whitney Point and other areas. So a response time from a response perspective, come in on the second alarm, he can get there faster than other guys that are living in the county. So,
Yeah, the issue is not, the issue is really living in the community that's paying your salaries. I'm a believer everybody should live in the city of Binghamton. But these are taxpayer funded positions. And the issue is that it was just Binghamton, which I strongly believe should be the residency requirement, but it was broadened to Broome County. If you're looking for a home, you can find an urban home in Broome County, a suburban home in Broome County, or rural home in Broome County. There's really no reason if you're looking for, and in regards to the school districts, the same thing. Some of the best school districts, public and private, are in Broome County. And it goes back to, again, if we granted, my position, if we granted this waiver, we couldn't deny a waiver request from anybody ever again.
Would that be an issue for you, with the retention issues and filling?
Yes, it would be an issue. It's definitely a big issue for me.
The retention issues would be.
I don't think the issues are that great.
Respectfully, to comment on the first statement you made, I've been looking for a house for over 2 years. The housing market is extremely aggressive and a very hostile place to be. I'm a young individual who was doing what was best for my family, and I found a home that I could financially afford, that was right for me. And to start growing, develop my family, I made the best decision for their health and safety, which was what I did. It was
That's great.
nothing out of haste or malaise, but you have to understand that.
I do
Everything
understand,
happens, but in everybody's life different.
well, that's fine.
So from a
But-
standpoint, I don't want you to get the impression that I intentionally did this. A house was on the market in a Vessel school district. And I was under the impression that I was in Broome County, which was a mistake. But on the flip side of things, I'm not gonna limit myself. To be in a position where I'm in an unsafe environment where I can't.
What's the unsafe environment?
My personal business.
No, yes, what's the unsafe environment?
Right.
From the county, city of Binghamton?
I'm a civil servant and I serve the public, and at times the public can become hostile towards us as civil servants. I've been followed home.
I was mayor for 12 years, believe me, I like to say that, I take offense to that.
Yeah, it's a,
What's your mailing address?
Currently,
Yeah.
17 Woodside Road West.
No, where you live now? The house, what's the town?
Applewood.
So you didn't realize that was in the town?
At the time when we were looking for houses, I was picking up extra shifts, trying to save up for a down payment. So what was happening was my fiance was going and visiting, looking through these houses, and I was just getting pictures from these houses. I never went and walked through them. I never made it to the physical addresses. The key points I received from this house was that it was off the Vessel Parkway and it's Vessel School District. I was under the impression, based off of those 2 key points, that the address was residing within Broome County.
But when you closed, I mean, there's a lot goes on before you close for a house.
An inspection was done. I was not there for the inspection. My fiance handled the majority of the workload.
taxes, everything comes into when you're closing a house and when you're paying your.
Correct. So when we went and closed down the house, we had already sunk thousands into inspection fees, the initial closing fees, and those were costs that we were not gonna be able to recoup. And I wasn't in any financial position to be able to use thousands of dollars.
No, I understand it's a difficult situation, but I mean, again, what you have described, unfortunately, does not lend itself, in my opinion, for me to make an exemption to the waiver. Like I said, it's very significant extenuating circumstances, so it's usually very rare. It's not a broad category. And basically what you're just saying is that you weren't aware of what you were buying, where you were buying your house and all that, and that could happen, but it doesn't justify making a waiver, because if I supported your waiver, we could not deny a waiver, because anything after that would justify, we couldn't deny a waiver. So we would undercut our whole residency requirement, which I think is very generous when you would consider it takes in all of Broome County. It's not just the city of Binghamton. So I don't know if anybody else has any questions or comments at this time.
I agree with Nick, just, the residents pay your wages and that's almost like a slab to move out and.
Is it the city residents that pay the wages, or is it a combination of counties?
City wages, clearly.
City, and like Nick
So if I
said,
was
we
to-
expanded it to Broome County.
So if I was to reside in Broome County, then those Broome County residents would not pay my salary, just.
No, but you'd be supporting the overall county where we reside. You're in the town of Appalachian,
Town of Lee.
the town of Lego, do they have a professional fire department?
No, there's only 3 professional fire departments that I'm aware of in the area. That's Village of Endicott, City of Johnson City, or I'm sorry, Village of Johnson City, City.
You know what, this is one of my pet peeves, I live in the city of Binghamton. I have all my life, and I'm planning on staying here because I believe in professional police and fire protection. I can move a few miles out of the town of Binghamton, pay a lot less taxes. I've always had an issue though, where the professional firefighters who are very much advocates for professional firefighting live in towns where they're protected by volunteers. Nothing against volunteers, but it kind of is counterintuitive. We sell professional firefighting as something that's important and needed, yet we have firefighters living in towns where they're protected by volunteers. So that's always been counterintuitive.
Right, I understand that's your opinion.
That's not a reason to deny your waiver. I'm just talking broadly.
Yeah, I understand your opinion on that, and obviously, everybody has a different mindset. Personally, I've been a volunteer firefighter since I was 16 years old.
You know, I have no problem with firefighters.
Right, yeah, absolutely. I've never had an issue.
I
knowing
I
the
think,
capabilities
I
of
give them a lot
volunteer
of credit
fire.
for what they do.
Yeah, that's a difference of opinions. I
yeah, I mean-
respect that.
But I mean, it is a difference of opinion, but I mean, you're a professional firefighter.
Mhm.
So I would think you'd be more of an advocate for professional firefighter. I mean, I
Uh,
understand you support, I support volunteers too for what they do, but
Yeah, I'm definitely an advocate for professional firefighters, and I'm extremely grateful and thankful for the job I have, and it's a pleasure to serve the city every time I come to work. I get up every morning, I shave my face, I love what I do, and I'm gonna continue to do that regardless of the extent of this meeting. When it boils down to what you just stated, it's just a mere difference.
oh, yeah, I agree, I understand. Any event, and I appreciate your position. Any other questions or comments?
No, but I would just like to say, you have put us in a very uncomfortable position.
Right.
And I'm gonna make a motion that we have to deny your request, and I don't like this at all. I feel terrible for you, but the rules are in place for a reason, and I am not comfortable with about what's gonna happen, so.
Yeah, it's a two-way street, believe me. I'm very uncomfortable with the position I'm being set in today and having to, go down the path that we're gonna unfortunately have to go down based on your vote. It's just, she abstained the last time, so I believe you're going to.
Yeah, I know your grandfather and
So
parents.
so we had a motion,
Yes.
second. All in favor? Aye. And no abstention. Okay, so the motion to deny is approved.
Yeah, thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Was there any in the past when waivers weren't granted, there was opportunity to like chief A's numbers, and when he's a chief, he was granted a waiver / extension to get time to move into the city. Is there?
It's a year, isn't it? Or 6
I don't know, I
months?
can't
Some
get-
I read
like-
3 months, I
Where
read
do
6 months.
we go from here, I guess? What I'm asking.
Yeah, there would be a timeline. We can work that out. Oh, shit, least of all, timeline.
If I could just give one more statement, I would appreciate at least up to a year, because I'm actively in the paramedic program. And that paramedic program is gonna be completed in October, November, test out ranges for the New York State paramedic certificate. So I would appreciate if I could have a year to focus on completing my paramedic school. And then have to work on trying to deal with a residency situation.
No, you want a year before you start dealing with the residency issue?
No, I would like a year
From now.
from now to,
But I mean, are you interested in moving back in?
no, but since the waiver's denied, I'm going to have to.
I mean, that's my point. You're interested in moving back in. You're interested now, I understand that. But since the waiver's denied, you are interested in moving back in? If,
Since I purchased the house, I wanted to grow, be in Vestal schools and Vestal, their town area. So moving forward, this is a starter home for us.
I understand, I was an administrator with the Vestal School District for 5 years. I understand,
Yeah, I grew up in Vestal, my parents.
But I am a firm believer that, there's a constellation of good school districts in this county,
Mhm.
as well as Catholic schools. No, my point is, I'm just asking whether you can negotiate. I mean, if we gave you a year to do the paramedic program, and then you say, oh, I decided I'm not moving back in. I mean, are you gonna start the process of looking to move back in while we're giving you the year? You get a waiver to. That's what he's gonna have to negotiate.
Sorry, in the back here, I think the reason he's requesting that is because the paramedic program puts such a time, he's not gonna have a lot of time, it's hundreds of thousands of hours of clinical time, schoolwork. And I think Carter's probably request is, he's not gonna have a lot of time to be house hunting until he's through this program.
So like a year from like today.
I think they graduate in August of next year.
No, I have no problem with granting the waiver so you can finish the coursework. What I'm saying is,
Will you be active?
we don't want them to finish and say, oh, by the way, I decided not to move back into the city.
Right.
Well, we can make a thing, you know what? You can negotiate. If that happens, then make it, he reimburses us for the program. That happens, then we're gonna get reimbursed for the cost. I think that's fair.
What are you saying you get reimbursement costs?
In other words, it would cost us to put you through the paramedic program. And if after a year you decided you're not coming back into the city. If you don't move back
Or
into
the
the city
county.
after we give you a year,
City or county?
County.
or county, I'm sorry,
County.
city is mine. County, into the county, then, you know, then I'd say we get reimbursed. But that's something to work for the work. It's not my job to do that, but I'm just thinking, I don't want to be, yeah, I don't want, my attitude is not to say you would do this.
Or we give you a waiver to you have 1 year to move back.
Back in and then you get to complete the program and you decide, well, I'm not gonna, I decide I don't want to be anything.
Sure.
That's the issue, so you guys can believe it. Good luck. I hope it, you know what? I hope it does work out.
Yeah, I hope it works out
Hope
too.
it
We'll
does work
see.
out.
Terrible market out there, so we'll see what comes of it. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Hey, you're very welcome.
You tell me. Okay, the, okay, we'll move on. So we'll talk after and you'll talk with the union rep and we can see if we can, you know, hopefully things work out. Other business, there's an eligible list for senior custodian and principal clerk. We just, make note of that and we accept it. We don't have to vote on that, I believe.
Yeah.
And, I don't see any other business, so.
Can I just bring up one thing?
Sure.
December meeting. Can we make it, if I leave for Florida on the 14th? So can we get it like that Wednesday, or is that our regular schedule meeting anyway?
No, we had it for the 18th, so it's gonna be the 11th.
Would that be okay with everybody?
That's fine with me.
I just got thinking of that, John.
That's fine.
Okay.
12/11. And then our next meeting is,
November 20th.
no, 20. Yes, is there a motion to adjourn
I make a motion?
for a second?
Is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, stuff in-
All in favor?
I,